You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the GCP at 779 Bank Street. It's our bar in the heart of the Glebe, just like it's our rink in Ottawa. No matter how many Leaf fans show up, they pay our bills and they leave losers once again. But shout out to the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. Get your shuttle tickets, $17 round trip. Next up will be the game on Thursday against the Capitals. We know they play tomorrow, but Sunday is going to be football day at the GCP. So head there at 779 Bank Street. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and Jack Richardson, covering a 2-1 Sens win tonight over the Toronto Maple Leafs in a game, frankly, where the Senators did not play their best. They get outshot, they get out offensive zone possession, but Pillsy, they just keep score for a reason, don't they?
Hey, we'll take a win any way we can get it, Ross. The Ottawa Senators scored 2 goals tonight, much better than getting shut out in back-to-back games. Coming home for a little home cooking, and anytime you're able to send those Leafs fans home packing sad, that shot of that sad Leafs fan at the end of the game just hit so good. I wish they showed a little more, but Sportsnet probably didn't want to show too much of that to anger all the Leafs fans watching at home. But we love it here on the Locked On Senators podcast, a 2-1 win. Jack, I know it wasn't the prettiest one. I know it wasn't the most excited one, but you got to be happy to be on the postcast for a win for once, buddy.
Sure do, Pilsy. It felt like I was getting back to the glory days where I couldn't buy a win on the postcast. Was humming a little bit in December and November. But yeah, honestly, just felt a little bit similar to the effort against Boston defensively, I'll put, but we'll get into the details of their effort tonight. Much more offensive opponent, so I think it's more impressive what they did against the Leafs tonight. But the difference is a timely power play goal from Tim Stutzle to end that shutout streak. That's what we're talking about. How often do we mention the missed attempts on the power play in Boston, in New York, and they capitalize? It's Buzzcut Timmy coming to the rescue in the first period, tying that game.
Well, not only that, Jack, I don't know about you boys, but it was a 4-on-3 power play, and I was yelling shoot the entire time. They were trying to make the pretty play again, cross seam, and they finally pull the trigger, and it wasn't even on the best opportunity, but Stutzle finds that little gap between Joseph Woll and the post, short side, off of it, and in. Pilsy, what'd you see on that goal?
Bang! Tim Stutzle with the absolute snipe. But Ross, I actually didn't mind the Sen cycling here because I think with the 5-on-4, the ice is just a little bit jammed up, and the passes they try to force, there's just not the space for. But as soon as they got the 4-on-3 opportunity, I was really excited for that because the 5-on-4 we've seen, it's been a struggle for the Sens. But when you get that 4-on-3 power play, it just shrinks the entire zone down because now the penalty killers, they can't play a diamond or a square. They got to play a triangle or some sort of three-pointed formation. And then the Ottawa Senators, their defenseman, he's not going to be way at the point. He's going to be much closer. And then that brings in the two guys on the flank, and it just tightens the zone down a bit. So it makes it easier to connect those passes, in my opinion. And Tim Stutzle, he had the green light to shoot. I mean, we talk about the evolution of Tinted Timmy. Well, Tinted Timmy with the buzz cut, this guy means business, and he's finally ripping that pill. And I thought he had a lot of good opportunities, and that shot that he had, that's one where, I mean, Joseph Woll doesn't have much of a chance on that one. I'm pretty sure it rang off the post and in. So just an absolute laser from Timmy and a great setup as well. You needed to see that power play goal.
And the power play goal was great. It cracks a 1-for-19 slump for the Ottawa Senators. But how great was Shane Pinto's goal? I was watching the game with my parents. They're here visiting, and I said, we need an ugly one. And it felt like it was right when the tide was really tilting towards Ottawa's end. Back-to-back shift, Ottawa was hemmed in their own zone for over a minute. They couldn't get off. They were hammering the pucks out. And then Thomas Chabot hammers it out. I was like, oh, there's another icing. Nope. Highmore's at the far blue line. He takes it in, tries the centering pass, and like a perfect game of pinball, it goes off of Marner's stick, off of Highmore's stick, across the net, off of Shane Pinto's kneecap, and it barely crosses the line before Mitch Marner takes 5 swings trying to get the puck off and out of the goal. Completely a good goal. I was almost hoping that the Leafs would challenge because it would have ended up in a 2-minute power play. There was talk of a kicking motion on the Leafs regional broadcast on Sportsnet tonight, and it was just no. He goes off of his knee and in. Complete fluke goal, but we'll take it. And that for Shane Pinto continues his absolute. I'm so glad we've been tracking this, Pilsy, because I feel like since we started tracking the Sens record when Shane Pinto has a point, it's only skyrocketed even more impressive. The Sens are now 51, 11, and 6 all time when Shane Pinto gets a point. And
Crazy.
Jack, maybe even more impressive than that is how he was on the ice against Austin Matthews almost every shift tonight and blanketed him doing so.
This, I don't want to sound too dramatic, but that's what the postcast is for. This is a vibe cast. They just beat the Leafs on a Saturday night. I think that's the best game I've seen Shane Pinto play as an Ottawa Senator in the NHL. I was locked on to Shane Pinto today because every single shift, especially after that first goal by the Leafs, it was McMahon who scored it, but that top line was out there against the bottom pairing, and I think Sanderson and Zub did a fantastic job as well. But to me, it's Shane Pinto, it's Michael Amadio, and it ended up being Matthew Highmore after Nick Cousins went down in the first period. So really impressive from that line. I think when Shane Pinto's buzzing like that, the better he gets in the NHL. This guy's still pretty young. He's still pretty new in the league overall, just in terms of games played with his injuries and with the suspension and everything. He's going to get more comfortable. And a game like that against guys of that caliber, I know it was a home game for the Sens. There were a lot of Leafs fans. That's a different environment at the CTC. And Pinto spoke about it pregame with Kyle Bukauskas, saying it kind of pisses the guys off a little bit, which I like. So they're geared up for this one. And I just thought Pinto was outstanding. I was watching him every shift. Just Matthews had 1 shot on goal, and he was coming in on a 5-game goal streak. That's outstanding from Shane Pinto tonight. Full marks to him. And the fact that he gets a lucky bounce on the game winner is pretty telling for me. What a night for number 12.
Yeah, it was huge. And that's the kind of goal, like you mentioned, Ross. Like it really seemed like that was how this game was going to be decided: a bounce, a lucky goal, a dirty goal, whatever you want to call it. But that was a good play all around, from the Sens clearing it, the long stretch pass, Amadio getting it in, Highmore getting the tip, and then Pinto just going to the net hard and getting whatever he can on that puck. Now, if that hits his foot, I think the Leafs have a case for a kicking motion, because the kicking motion was there, but I don't think it's an issue if it doesn't hit your foot, if it hits halfway up your leg and bounces off your knee.
Well, think of how many wrist shots you have a leg kick as you do it. Like, yeah, his leg kicked, but he did not kick it in. To kick something, it has to go off your foot, not your top of your shin pad. But hey, you don't want to go to Toronto to ask about a goal against Toronto. So hey, take the win, pack it up, move on to tomorrow. 5:00 start against Utah. But man, the weekends, the Sens are working on the weekends now. 6-0 on Saturday and Sundays since I fell on the sword when the Sens lost in Winnipeg in late December. They beat Minnesota. Then they had the back-to-back there where they beat the Penguins and the Stars. They beat the Bruins and the Devils last weekend. And now they beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1 on home ice. Great to see. Let's take a look at how the game went. 2-1 for Ottawa. The Senators got outshot 29-23 in this game. Sens go 1 for 2 on the power play. Leafs only go 0 for 1. Leafs snap back 53% of the draws to Ottawa's 47. Senators with 16 blocks, Toronto with 13. Senators with 24 hits to Toronto's 19. And the expected goals at 5-on-5, I have flipped there. It's 61.6% for Toronto in this game to only 38.4 for the Ottawa Senators. So the stats leaning towards Toronto, but Pilsy, these are the types of games you got to dig deep and find a way to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Sens scoring woes are very obvious, and even in a game they win, they only score 2. But when you only allow 1, that gets the job done. And they're going to have to find ways to get their top guys scoring. Now, obviously, Tim Stutzle gets a goal here, and Shane Pinto, you hope he's one of those guys that he scores tonight. You hope that the floodgates open up for him and he gets on a bit of a streak here. But I don't mind those defensive style games when you get the wins, because that's a sustainable way to win hockey games if you can keep up that defensive style of play, because we know how potent this offense is. We know how good this power play can be. So I have faith that it's going to come around eventually. If you can be consistent in your defensive structure, and then you get back Vezina winning goalie and Linus Ullmark, who looks like he's closer and closer to getting back, that bodes really well for this team in a long-term success plan. So although I would have loved to see them pounce on the Leafs a little more, I would have loved even more to see an empty net goal so that Leafs fans can get PTSD and the trauma of a slap shot going into a net because they don't like it when you shoot that hard on them could resurface. But a 2-1 win works for me.
I even leaned to my dad with a minute and a half left. I didn't want to jinx anything, so I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't want to jinx it either.
But I said, wouldn't it be great if somehow they get a breakaway and you wind up for a slap shot, but then just let the momentum of the puck, curling style, just let it go in and say, I didn't touch it.
Leafs fans will be like, that's so disrespectful. That you gotta shoot that puck in. That's too soft now.
So, oh my God.
You know what's great about that game, I think, from the Sens perspective? Just
2 points.
The 2 points is the best part. In regulation, beat the traffic, Leafs fans. But I think what's cool is that was a boring effort from the Leafs. And I think the Sens are starting to get this reputation now where they put you to sleep. We're getting that Guy Boucher, but it's a bit more exciting, I think, as a good way to put it. But think about all those Leafs fans who maybe traveled all the way to Ottawa, got their one game in the CTC this season in the regular season. And, they go in
the regular season.
They go and see one goal, which might have been, too early for them to even get to their seats if they were a little bit late, and then they get nothing else. That's a perfect effort for me. Wasn't a barn burner. Wasn't a great game. That's all they get to see. Thanks for the cash for the Ottawa Senators. And then, I think it's just a great rivalry win, even though it was a little bit of a sleepy game for the Sens.
Senators get 4 straight wins in the Battle of Ontario, and they've won 5 of their last 6 games going back to the start of last season. Things you absolutely love to see. Anton Forsberg, brilliant in goal. And Jackson mentions that here. Anton Forsberg, huge game. That's 960 save percentage starts in a row for Anton Forsberg. No spoilers, Jackson, but we're going to talk about him in a little while. But first, let me tell you about the Postcast, because it's always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the GCP, where the vibes are free. That's at 779 Bank Street. Let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. On a game day like today and tomorrow, you'll get 10% off your order at the Glebe Central Pub. You can also go and check out the NFL football that's playing tomorrow. Always a great place to catch the game. I'm a huge fan of the wings at the GCP. Pilsy, you're a big wrap guy, though. You know what you like at the GCP, and you just go back and back and back to it.
Yeah, hey, I like the wings too. You guys know I'm a chicken guy, so serve me chicken on a wrap, on a wing, fried, whatever you want. I love it. But the wings there are pretty awesome. You got to have wings on a football day, Ross, so I'm with you.
So go to the Glebe Central Pub, where the vibes are free, and make sure to check out the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Only $17 round trip to and from the CTC. The full schedule is available online at glebecentralpub.com. So head to where the vibes are free. It's Glebe Central Pub, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. If next time the Toronto Maple Leafs are in town, you're sick of seeing all of those blue jerseys, well, do something about it. Get on the Glebe Central Pub shuttle, but get your tickets with Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get tickets for live events, and not just sports, guys. Music, theater, and comedy. Game Time has made it easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you're not wasting time searching through thousands of tickets you don't even want. I used Game Time to get my tickets for the Sens game in Tampa. I'm stoked, and you can even see the view from your seat before you buy. Check out the super deals, super impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, I hate it when you get to checkout and all of a sudden your ticket's way more than you thought it was going to be. Well, turn on the all-in pricing feature, and they're going to show you the total cost up front, no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.
All right, welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and Jack Richardson. We've got a boots on the ground report coming, but in the meantime, let's revel in a 2-1 win over the Ottawa Senators. So how did we get here? Well, Toronto opened the scoring. 3 minutes and 46 seconds in, Bobby McMahon gets the goal. It was a down low play. Marner behind the net. Gets down to Oliver Ekman-Larsson, back down to Marner. He plays catch behind the net. And to put it bluntly, McMahon was way too wide open in the slot there to get that in.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those, Ross, where you'd like to see the Senators kind of pick up on that play, especially Marner behind the net. And I think the Sens are kind of puck watching, and McMahon's able to sneak in there. But if it's going to be Bobby McMahon that beats you and Austin Matthews only gets one shot on goal, obviously you don't love it, but I'll take it.
So that's all the scoring for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game. Ottawa tied it soon after. 7 minutes later on a power play was Tim Stutzle, bang, in the back of the net. Jake Sanderson and Claude Giroux get the assists on that goal. And then in the third period, less than 10 minutes remaining, Shane Pinto's 9th of the season from Matthew Highmore and Thomas Chabot. Anton Forsberg, spectacular in goal, making 28 saves on 29 shots. We'll get to our Sen Central standouts in just a matter of minutes, but we have our boots on the ground report standing by as the screen goes black. Here he is. It's our guy, Eric. What's up, brother? Great to see you.
Hey, how's it going? How's my audio and stuff?
You sound great. You looked great. Club Bell tonight, buddy? Woo!
Our friends Anna Dua from Sportsnet. She did this thing where she was giving back to military members. So she reached out, and I thought at first that she had forgot. I'm like, the game's kind of coming up and stuff, and she's like, I was waiting for the perfect tickets for you. And I had said, we're okay with the nosebleeds. You know, I love being up there with the boys, and so you know, we just feel so grateful that she hooked us up. I went with my old buddy from we played football together, and he's a Leafs fan, so don't hate him for it, okay?
Well, you're reformed. We remember your Citizen segment a couple years ago. You didn't get any itches with all the blue in there tonight?
I'm completely converted now because my heart, you know, I don't feel it, but I still get egged on. Like he was telling me, he's like, "Aren't you a Leafs fan?" I'm like, "No, go Seds, go." So, but
no, dude, you're the man. So, final question for me off the top. I want to let the boys get in, and then we'll get back to me. But how many egg rolls? What's the final count?
Oh, I think it was 14.
Okay, yeah, that's about what I do, eh?
They're so good there.
Baker's dozen.
Ross is a champion with the egg rolls, though.
I didn't even get sauce because I didn't want to. I just wanted the dry mouth. I wanted to keep going. I was going for speed. I wanted the record, and like I'm so full. Like I feel so bad. But it's like the guilt-free thing where the wife's not monitoring what I eat, you know. So I went all out.
Eric, you have enough room in that belly for 2 points, though?
Oh, I sure do. Give me 2 points all day long. That's my dessert stomach. I keep it for the win.
Yeah, separate belly.
Oh man, Eric, how nervous were you when the Leafs go up 1-0? Because that's tough when you're down 1 in our barn with all those Leafs fans. Was that a moment where you start to panic a little bit, or did you sense that the Senators weren't really letting this slip away at that point?
You know, I don't know who's going to show up. Like, I know whatever our record is when they score first. When the opponents score first. So I was kind of a bit nervous with that. And there was so many Leaf fans tonight. It was disgusting. Mm-hmm. And I was just going to ask about that. Around, right? Sorry?
I was just going to ask about that. Sorry, not to interrupt you there.
No, it was like all Leafs fans. I mean, you'd have a couple Sens fans, but you look up, it's the sea of blue, and it makes me sad. But we'll change that once we make it farther in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. Fellas, you got one?
Yeah, like that was kind of my question. Sorry, I had to ask about the fans. Like I know that but my question was more about, did they get quieter? It sounded like they got quieter as the game went on, and that was kind of what we were talking about right before. Like the Sens played a really shut down game.
It really feels different. Like I feel like the past couple of years we're getting like, I don't know, 4-3 games, or like the Sens are scoring 3 or 4. So I think I'm a reformed fan in the sense that I'm accepting these tight checking games and realizing, okay, boring hockey is okay because you get the W at the end. And I feel like it was such an entertaining game. It was so good. Like I was entertained. I'll tell you that.
On a scale from preseason game to the NHL draft, us all buzzing in Vegas, where's this rank?
Oh, you can never beat Vegas.
But the draft, or are you and me holding the hands at Cirque du Soleil?
I'm pretty sure your hand was in my pocket, but I don't know. The draft, honestly, it's always great vibes with you guys, and I would say tonight was it was a 9 out of 10 because it was Club Bell and we won.
Yeah, that's a nice
night. I only dock a point so that Vegas can be 10 out of 10.
Okay, all right. We love that. Hey, Eric, we'll leave you with this. Give us a Sen Central standout from your point of view. Who was the best player on the Ottawa Senators tonight?
I going Forsberg. I'm a goalie guy. Like, I just love a good story with Forsberg. And, like, where we were seated, we had a very good view behind the net. And, man, this guy, he has got a lot of crap from people. And I get it. We have 2 great goaltenders. But he's doing his job. Like, he's got some bad games, but past 2, I mean, I'm tipping my hat to him. Got to give him the respect.
Anton Forsberg is your Sen Central standout. Hey, tip of the hat to you. Thank you for your service, Eric. Thank you for being an absolute beauty. Thank you for ditching the blue team those years ago. You bring vibes, energy, enthusiasm, and a great smile to the Sens fan base. We appreciate the hell out of you, man. Thanks for jumping on.
I love you, boys. Keep going, eh?
Hey, love you too, brother. We'll see you soon. There goes Eric. Make sure you're following him on Twitter. ERLISK 1337. Pillsy, those get better and better. And it's great when we know this, dude. such a beauty. We had such a blast with him in Vegas.
Yeah, Eric is an absolute wild card. Definitely follow him on Twitter. Always cracks me up. An amazing Sens fan. And yeah, the reformed Sens fans that are just as happy as us in the Battle of Ontario, it warms my soul. So you love to see that. And the boots on the ground are always awesome. Club Bell on Battle of Ontario. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I bet there's some Leafs fans in there too, because that's what they pay for nosebleeds back home.
Yeah, seriously, they're like, wait, I got this for only this much money? Woo!
You're serving my drinks in an actual glass? What is going on? The service, they actually care about the fans here. Could you imagine?
Club Bell is, it's still pricey. Let's not kid ourselves, but it's something you have to experience at least once in your lifetime. It is an entirely different way to enjoy the game. And bring the lady, bring the wife, bring the girlfriend, because
is that what we did when we took Martian and Jack?
That was so special. That was such a special night. Igor's first goal, that was so good.
They're deserving of it as well.
We're definitely not getting drinks while Igor scored that goal.
No, we were right. We were right there. Well, Ross, we did treat our ladies to the Club Bell experience, and they enjoyed it. So we did. Definitely a amazing way to watch hockey.
And we also put Brian Elliott into retirement. We were sitting right behind him that night, and payback for him giving me the big time outside of Jack Astor's in like 2009. We didn't forget that, Brian. We didn't forget that, Brian. Tonight, it's a 2-1 Sens win. Hey, Brian Elliott might have been the goalie the last time the Leafs beat the Sens. Like, come on. 4 straight wins in the Battle of Ontario. Let's keep it rolling here. We'll get our Sen Central standouts next. First, Pilsy, though, he's got a word from our friends at FanDuel, where I'm going to check my account while Pilsy does this ad read, because I'm back.
Maybe some green numbies in the account. And from the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app, it's awesome. It's the best app out there. None of the other ones even come close. It's easy to navigate. The variety of bets keep every game exciting. They always got awesome promos, same game parlays with profit boosts. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Those green numbers are in your accounts ASAP. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. And only 4 teams left in the NFL, boys. Winners of these games, they move on to the big game in New Orleans. So gotta tune into that tomorrow when you're not watching the Ottawa Senators, of course. America, Canada, everyone will be tuned in to the Ottawa Senators versus the Utah Hockey Club at 5 o'clock, I'm sure. And you can too. And visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this NFL playoffs unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
All right, welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar and Jack Richardson. You can find all of our social media handles in the description below the show. Please leave a comment as well. The chat's buzzing. We're going to get to that at the end of the show, but also leave a comment below. It does help the algorithm, and make sure to share it, thumbs up, all that great stuff that helps us be the show for fans, by fans. And Ziz lives all-time comment there. Leafs still stuck. First in the division, and they still cannot come into Ottawa, have what they would call a home ice advantage, and still not be able to come out with even more than 1 goal. 1 goal for the Leafs in 2 games against Ottawa this year, if you're counting at home. Senators had a shutout win, 3-0 in Toronto. These 2 teams will play once more this season in Toronto. When's that game? Tell me it's at the end of the year. I want this one to really matter. No, that game is March 15th. So right after the trade deadline. 2-game road trip at Toronto, at Montreal. Woo-wee!
And those will probably be the St. Pat's jerseys, which I don't know what.
The Sens dummy them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what the record is, but in my mind, I feel like the Leafs always lose when they wear those.
And they always play on St. Patty's Day. And thank goodness this one's in Toronto, because the crowd is a complete gong show. It's always bad at the CTC when the Leafs fans, those rodents, invade. It is 100 times worse on St. Patty's Day, because they can't hold their liquor either. So it becomes a complete mess. But Senators win 2-1 tonight. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. The out-of-town scoreboard wasn't great. But before we move on to that, our Sen Central standouts. Eric took the easy, low-hanging fruit. Anton Forsberg was spectacular when needed in this game. He made a number of key saves. In this game, he finishes with a 28 save performance, goals saved above expected of 1.6, and just loved the way he played in this game. High danger shot attempts 4, and they're counting the goal as a medium danger. I don't know. That was kind of right in the slot. But hey, we'll take it. So 4 for 4 on high danger chances. My favorite save from Forsberg, boys, was when he made the next save after the go-ahead goal. Nylander was cherry picking at the far blue line, and he was like, no, we're good. We're not letting any of that garbage go through. So shout out to him for that. Jack, I'm coming to you first. Who's your Sen Central standout?
I'm just going to double down on Shane Pinto. I think I'll just take more low-hanging fruit, game-winning goal for Shane Pinto. And like we touched on, just one of the better games we've seen him play. And he gets rewarded with a really lucky bounce. But at the end of the day, in a week, no one's going to remember that. They're going to see 9th goal, game-winning goal. He played 20 minutes and 12 seconds tonight. Boys, that led all Sens forwards in ice time.
Wow.
Shane Pinto, I glanced at it, but I'm pretty sure he had more than Tkachuk, Stutzle, and Batherson. So I'm assuming he was up there. Just a really strong night from Shane Pinto. Shutting down Matthews, held him to 1 shot. Obviously a -1 for Marner at least. I don't know if the rest of the line was out there, but just outstanding. If he can kind of keep that in his game as a third line, second line center with Norris out, that's really valuable for the Sens at under $4 million.
Yeah, great game from Shane Pinto. Love that one, Jack. Hey, I'm not going to get too fancy with this one, Ross, so I'm taking Tim Stutzle. The first goal of the game, a power play goal, thank God. And sometimes, Ross, we know this. Just in everyday life, things aren't going your way. You're in a bit of slump. You're not feeling great. Switch up that hairdo. Why not? Give it a try. His barber said, Timmy, I don't think you could pull off the buzz haircut. Timmy said, I don't care. Buzz me up, clean me up. The nice, clean. You get a bit of speed there, Ross. The aerodynamics help you out. I know you're wearing the helmet, but you lose a bit of weight with that lettuce getting chopped off. So he was buzzing out there, and it's all business. No more of this pretty fancy stuff. No more of the slick back. No more of the trying to look too good. Just keep it short, sweet, simple. And he was putting pucks on net. He led the Ottawa Senators with 4 shots on goal tonight in a game where they didn't generate a lot of offense and didn't have a whole lot of shots, but he gets that power play goal. It was so sweet to see. So Tim Stutzle is my Sen Central standout, presented by the Glebe Central Pub.
And shout out to Braden on Twitter. Tinted Timmy is so over. Here comes Trim Stutzle.
Oh, I like that. Trim Stutzle. Yeah.
Yeah, just trim it right up. Hey, Timmy had a great game tonight. There's no doubt about that. He gets a goal, still -1. But what I like from Timmy is he led the Senators in shots on goal. 4 shots on goal for Tim Stutzle tonight. That to me is a sign that he's feeling it and is playing very well. My Sen Central standout is going to be Jake Sanderson. I thought he was very in control tonight. He looked so smooth. There were a couple plays where Mitch Marner was sneaking up behind him, and say what you want about Marner, but he is top 5 in the league, maybe even top 2 in takeaways this year. But he would angle his body and just continue to battle through and not allow Marner those easy picks like he likes to do in this game. Mitch Marner with 0 takeaways, 3 giveaways in this game. So I thought Jake Sanderson was excellent. He had 2 takeaways in this game, 1 block shot, 2 shot attempts, had the assist on the Tim Stutzle goal. I thought this was a spectacular performance from Jake Sanderson. He will be my Sen Central standout. Do you want to snap it around twice or leave it at that?
I mean, Jack, if you got one, go for it. But I'll just comment quickly on Jake Sanderson. I thought he had a great game, Ross. That's a good call. On the stats card, him and Artem Zub were the top Ottawa Senators players.
Nice.
And you were seeing that nice, smooth skating. And what I liked from Sanderson and Zub is there were, like, in a game this tight, that's 1-1 for the majority of it, and then you're holding on to a 2-1 lead late in the third. You got to play safe, simple, responsible hockey. Every time they touch the puck, they didn't try to force things. They just did the easy play right off the bat, chipping pucks out off the boards, just doing a quick flick up and over and out, get that line change. Like, I thought the Ottawa Senators, led by those two specifically, did a really good job of, when they got that lead, just not messing around and playing smart hockey, and it ultimately drains down the clock and they're able to get the W. So huge game for Sandy.
Love that. And before we move on to our second standouts, we can just buzz through those quickly. Eric Diot with a quote on Shane Pinto, which was Jack's standout. Is it the third reincarnation of Mike Fisher? Man, he looks the part. He's playing so solid defensively, and I like that call, Eric. So shout out to you for making that comparison. Well, as we do, we snap it snake style. So I've got a choice to make. I could go with an unpopular choice, but I might just leave him for a shout out at the end of the show. And I'll go with an unsung hero, but a guy who deserves some credit tonight. And that's Michael Amadio. I thought this was his best performance in a long time. Finishes the game with 4 hits and 1 block shot. But for me, it was more what he did on the forecheck to extend plays in the offensive zone and his strong stick in the defensive zone. I just thought Michael Amadio had a great game, so I want to give him some love.
Yeah, I thought Amadio had a great game too, and he's really had an elevated role in this one, especially with Cousins going down early. So I thought he played smart, good hockey, and that's the kind of player that he was advertised to as the Ottawa Senators when he came in here. Like, it just seemed like he was going to be one of those guys where he wasn't going to make a lot of mistakes. So is he going to wow you offensively, or does he have like one defining top attribute: speed, physicality, shot, passing? Not really, but he just plays a smart, responsible game, and we saw him doing that in tonight's game. And that's what we need to see from Michael Amadio, because the Ottawa Senators, they need to keep things as tight as possible when they're not scoring a lot of goals.
All right, Pelsey, you're up.
I'm going to go with Jack Stopchuck. I thought he had a really nice game, and he's had an elevated role as well.
You think he deserves more ice time?
I mean, Jack does. I'm with him, though.
He got it tonight.
Yeah, he got it tonight. My stats aren't loading on NHL.com, so if you guys can hit me with his time on ice here.
Yeah, I had to go with the event
15.
summary. NHL.com's being kind of strange these days. Yeah.
As soon as we get to Sen Central standouts and I want to rip off stats, it always messes up on me.
Also 4 hits for a Stopchuck tonight. He goes 2 for 3 in the dot. Has no shots on goal tonight. 3 attempts though. 1 giveaway, 1 takeaway in tonight's game.
But I just thought he was a guy that kept plays alive, it seemed like to me. And I thought he played good defensively, getting sticks in lanes. And look, I think most likely, if he's going to stick around in the NHL, which he has, he's going to be a 4th-line center on this team moving forward. But he showed that if you need him to elevate his role in the lineup, he's able to do that. And look, when he was in Vancouver with the Giants in the WHL, he was a top player. And then he went and played on Team Canada, and he was a bottom 6 guy, and he was still able to carve out a role and play a good game. So I think he's a guy that's learning how to be effective with less time. But when you need him up in the lineup a little more because of injuries, or you want to shake things up, or he's having a good game, he's able to handle that too. So I'll go with Jack Stopchuck here.
Love it.
I'll quickly piggyback on that you stole my next guy, Pilsy, so I don't really have a backup plan. Matthew Highmore I thought was good, but quickly on a Stopchuck, he's the kind of guy who, if they get someone at the deadline, he's probably looking like someone who they'd probably bump down or scratch, right? So he's got to be able to be that kind of guy who can show he can play in these games when you go down with injuries. Gaudette, Perron barely played down the stretch, so seeing him do that's pretty impressive, and that's why I think he deserves a better look. Like, you got to see what you have. Steos talked about it internally. They want to see what they have. That's an opportunity for a Stopchuck right now.
Well, somebody else is going to get an opportunity tomorrow because Nick Cousins will be out, quote, a while, per Travis Green. We'll have a postcast for you tomorrow. It is the month of Sen Central here. We have had a show every day since what? No, we didn't have one the 4th. So since February 6th. So we are at a long time now.
January 6th.
January 6th. Yeah. So this is our 20th straight day. with a show. We'll have another one tomorrow, all through next week, and Saturday against the Wild on February 1st. We appreciate everybody for being a part of the show. And we got plenty of storylines going into tomorrow. You can follow us on Twitter at Sen Central to get into all of those. Last shout out I want to give, not quite a standout, but hey, Travis Hamonic came back into the lineup and he played his role tonight. Yeah. He did, man. He was pretty good. 22 minutes, 2 shots on goal, 4 block shots, and 2 hits. So led the team in block shots. So I just want to give a little credit where it's due. I thought Travis Hamonic had a good game tonight, and they're going to need him if Nick Jensen, well, he's out tomorrow, that we know that, but for as long as Nick Jensen's out, they're going to need Travis Hamonic to be a solid contributor to the lineup. Sens win 2-1, not the best performance, but a win is a win is a win. And the out-of-town scoreboard tonight, not great, not awful, but not great. Earlier today, the Boston Bruins got a regulation win. The Pittsburgh Penguins lost in regulation. The Blue Jackets won in overtime. The Canadiens lost in overtime. The Red Wings win, but they beat the Lightning in regulation. So that's kind of whatever. It didn't go to overtime, and you'd probably prefer the team behind you to win, who's still behind you, and then the team ahead of you stalls a little bit. So we're feeling good right now about where the Sens are, and tomorrow will be another test. We'll see you after the game. It's a 5 o'clock start, so we'll see you around 8 o'clock Eastern time. Let's get some Go Sens Go in the chat. This is the Postcast for Jack Richardson and Brandon Pillar. I'm Ross Levitan. You've been listening to the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day. We're also brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Check them out for great food, awesome drinks, and atmosphere to match. And the Sen Shuttle, just $17 round trip to and from the CTC. Go check them out online, GlebeCentralPub.com. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.